Now in the second part of the rotational mechanics, we will study relation between mass moment of inertia and the mass of the body. Also we will study different types of equilibrium, then angular momentum and the conservation of angular momentum, and the power and work done by the torque or the torsion. So first of all, the relation between mass moment of inertia and mass of the body. So mass moment of inertia is concerned with rotational mechanics. I. So I is concerned with rotational mechanics, while mass is concerned with linear motion, which is done by the force acting on the body. So in the equation, torque is equal to I alpha, which is similar to force is equal to mass into acceleration. Okay. So mass in linear motion is same as mass moment of inertia in rotational motion. Okay. Now mass m is the property of the system, and it does not depend upon the choices of the axis or type of motion that the system will undergo, but I depends on the choice of axis or the choice of axis of rotation or motion. Okay, so this is the difference between mass moment of inertia and mass. That mass is used in linear motion, while mass moment of inertia is used in rotational mechanics. Okay, mass is the property of the system, while moment of inertia is not a property of the system, and it depend upon the choices of the axis that you can have. Okay, now types of equilibrium. Okay, so there are two types of equilibrium. First is linear equilibrium and second is rotational equilibrium. Now the rotational motion is caused by torque, that's why rotational equilibrium is concerned with torque, and linear motion is caused by force, that's why for linear equilibrium force must be balanced. Okay, so as you can see here, that for linear motion, okay, so for linear motion will achieve its equilibrium condition when external force acting on the system is equal to 0. Now this external force is equal to reaction force MACM. Okay, so mass of the body into acceleration of the center of the mass is equal to external force. So external force is equal to 0, so reaction by the system is equal to 0, and that's why the acceleration of the center of the mass is equal to 0 for linear equilibrium. Okay, means the constant velocity motion or the inertia motion, means velocity is not changing, whether it's in the a still condition, means the body is not moving at all, it is inert, or it is having a constant velocity, then net external force acting on the system is equal to 0, which is equal to reactive force MACM is equal to 0, and mass is a scalar quantity, that's why acceleration of center of mass is equal to 0. Okay, now for rotational equilibrium we should have a constant angular velocity, means whether it's a 0 or a constant angular velocity, whatever it is, it will be a constant. Okay, means the angular velocity will be a constant. So in that case, external torque applied on the body is equal to 0. Now this external force will give a reactive force I alpha Cm, that is also equal to 0, because external force is equal to 0, so the internal stresses or internal forces is equal to 0. So I alpha Cm is equal to 0, and I is also a scalar quantity, that's why alpha Cm is equal to 0. Okay, now if you want to have a total equilibrium, then you will have to have both conditions satisfied, that the body should be in linear equilibrium and also in rotational equilibrium. Okay, so for linear equilibrium Net external force is equal to 0 implies net external force in the x direction is equal to 0, net external force in the y direction is equal to 0, and net external force in the z direction is equal to 0. For angular momentum, the summation of total external torque acting on the system is equal to 0. That's why when both of the conditions are satisfied, then the body is in a total equilibrium condition, means both linearly and rotational equilibrium has been achieved. Now the types of equilibrium. So there are three types of equilibrium. First is a stable equilibrium, second is unstable equilibrium, and third is neutral equilibrium. So a stable equilibrium is the type of equilibrium in which when you move the mass, it still achieves its equilibrium position, as it happens in the case of springs. Okay. So springs are displaced from their initial position and restoring forces bring it back to its same position. That's why it's a stable equilibrium condition, means the body is displaced from its equilibrium position, regains its equilibrium position after some time. Now in unstable equilibrium, it is opposite to the stable equilibrium, means you will displace the mass from its equilibrium position and the body will not be in its equilibrium condition after that. In neutral equilibrium, the body stays in its equilibrium position even after being displaced, means you are displacing the body and still it will be at the neutral position, means equilibrium position. Now the angular momentum. So angular momentum is the cross product of position vector and linear momentum. Okay. So angular momentum is defined by L is equal to cross product of R into P. Okay. So R is the position vector of the particle from the axis of rotation, and this is the perpendicular distance, means the shortest distance, because perpendicular distance is the shortest distance. That's why this is the shortest distance or perpendicular distance of the linear momentum from the axis of rotation. Okay. This means whenever you have given choices, you should have to select the position vector in such a way that it is perpendicular to the velocity, linear velocity or tangential velocity. Now P is the linear momentum of the particle at a distance r from the axis of rotation. So R is the perpendicular distance or the shortest distance or the position vector of the particle from the axis of rotation. For a system of particles, the angular momentum is summation of linear momentum associated with every particle. So summation of Lj will give you total linear equilibrium, total angular momentum. So total angular momentum is equal to summation of angular momentum associated with each particle. That's why summation of Rj into Pj. So J is the jth particle, whatever the particle it is, it's a jth particle. So position vector of the jth particle and linear momentum of the jth particle and the cross product of both. Okay. So linear momentum is nothing but m into v, means mass into tangential or linear velocity. That's why Pj is equal to m into Vj. M is the mass of the ith particle, jth particle. Now the velocity or the tangential velocity, linear velocity associated with the particle Vj. So it is linear velocity or tangential velocity. So tangential velocity V is equal to omega, which is the angular velocity, into Rj, which is the position vector of the jth particle. Okay. So this is in the circular motion chapter, R into omega has been written. So change it to omega into R. It's omega into R, not R into omega. Okay. The cross product should be exact, whatever it is. It's not R into omega, it's omega into R. And similarly, in the previous video also I said the cross product that I have dictated in the rotational mechanics chapter are the correct one. So if in the circular motion you have any queries, then after circular motion you watch rotational mechanics also, and then you will have the total idea of the rotational mechanics. So whatever mistake means just the cross product only. So in the cross product you have to do some correction as I have dictated in the circular motion. Okay. Now angular momentum L is equal to summation of mass of the jth particle, velocity of the jth particle into position vector of the jth particle, means MVR. Okay. So summation of MVR will give you angular momentum, total angular momentum. Now this again, because V is equal to omega R, so it becomes mj into omega j into r square. Now m into r square is equal to I, which is the mass moment of inertia. That's why the final term is I into omega. Angular momentum is equal to I into omega. So I is the mass moment of inertia about the axis of rotation. Okay. Now for an external, means the angular momentum caused by an external torque. So angular momentum external is equal to I into omega Cm. Okay. So I is the mass moment of inertia of the whole body about the axis of rotation, and omega Cm is the angular velocity of the center of mass. Now conservation of linear momentum, conservation of angular momentum. Okay, it has been written linear, change it to angular. Conservation of angular momentum, not linear momentum, it is angular momentum, conservation of angular momentum. So angular momentum is represented by L. So dl by dt is equal to, so L is equal to cos product of Rj into Pj. R is the position vector of the jth particle and Pj is the linear momentum associated with the jth particle. So differentiate it and you will get the value as total external torque. So when you differentiate the angular momentum with respect to time, you will get the torque. Okay. So this you can see, we have done the differentiation by parts. Okay. So by differentiation by parts, we have done the differentiation of this cross product. Now cross product of Vj into Vj is equal to 0 because sine 0 is 0. Okay. Cross product will give you sine value, sine theta value. So sine 0 is equal to 0. That's why this term is equal to 0, because Vj into Vj is equal to 0, cross product. So the resultant is summation of Rj into Fj. Rj is the position vector of the jth particle and Fj is the force acting on the jth particle, which is equal to, this product is equal to, summation of this product is equal to total external torque acting on the body. Or the group of bodies or the system. Okay. Now when total external torque acting on the system is equal to 0, this is the conservation of angular momentum. That when total external torque acting on the system is equal to 0, then angular acceleration of center of mass is equal to 0, and angular acceleration is equal to 0 means angular velocity is equal to constant. Okay. So angular velocity of the center of the mass is constant. Now as we have studied in linear momentum, that impulse is there, linear impulse. So in case of rotational mechanics, we have angular impulse. So in linear impulse, we have force into time, force into duration of the time for which the force is acting, and here it's torque into dt, which is the duration of time for which the torque has been acting on the body. So t dt. Now integrate it from t1 to t2 to get, if you are given the variables, torque as a variable, then you integrate it, and then you integrate it, torque dt is equal to dl, which is a change in angular momentum, and then you will integrate it, then change of angular momentum is equal to angular impulse with respect to time also, with respect to time. Now similarly, angular momentum is equal to mass moment of inertia into angular velocity. So when you differentiate the dl by dt, you get I into mass moment of inertia, which is I, mass moment of inertia, into d omega t d omega by dt. So this is nothing but external torque, which is equal to I alpha cm. So I is the mass moment of inertia of the body about the axis of rotation, and alpha is the angular acceleration. Okay, and cm is the center of mass. Now kinetic energy and work done. So kinetic energy associated with rotational mechanics means the rotational body is equal to half into I into omega square. So I is the mass moment of inertia about the neutral axis or the axis of rotation, and omega cm is the angular velocity of the center of mass, so whole square of that. Now I is equal to mr square, so mr square into omega square also kinetic energy can be represented at. So this term is equal to rotational kinetic energy. Now power and work done delivered by the torque. Okay, so power is nothing but work done per second. So power delivered by a torque is equal to P. If you have given force and velocity, then cross product of dot product of means the dot product or the scalar product of force into velocity will give you power. Now this velocity is equal to means the linear velocity is equal to omega into r. Okay, so F into r is equal to torque and omega is there, so torque into omega. In case of rotational motion, when you are given torque and angular velocity, then power is equal to torque into angular velocity. When you have given force and velocity, then force into linear velocity. And if you are given displacement, then F into dx by dt. Okay, so cross product of force into dx by dt, which is velocity. X is the displacement here. Now the work done by torque is equal to dot product of torque into angular displacement, and in case of linear motion, force into displacement. Okay, so this will give you work and this will give you power. Okay, so thank you.